Imagine a thief. Not the kind that breaks a window or sets off an alarm. No, this one stands right in front of you and quietly empties your wallet while you're looking right at them. No sirens, just the relentless draining of what your money can actually buy. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the greatest ongoing heist in the modern economy. Let's get into it. Look, the evidence of this is right in front of us. Back in the year 2000, you could walk into a fast food joint and grab a burger for $2. Fast forward to today, 2024, that exact same burger is going to set you back nearly $6. Or think about a movie ticket, jumping from $5 to 10, 15, or even more. The numbers are glaring. We're paying so much more just to live the exact same life. So, it brings us to the core mystery of this whole investigation. Why do prices just keep increasing? Seriously, why don't they just stay the same year after year and give us some predictability? Are executives just sitting in some smoky back room, raising prices on purpose to squeeze us dry? Or is there a massive, invisible machine grinding away in the background? Okay, let's dive into this. The answer to our mystery boils down to one heavy, inescapable word: inflation. Put simply, when inflation happens, your money just cannot buy as much as it used to. Prices go up across the board, and the actual, real-world muscle of your hard-earned cash quietly fades away. Think about it like this. Back in the 1970s, a single quarter bought you a full steaming cup of coffee. Today, if you slide 25 cents across a cafe counter, you're literally just paying for the empty paper cup. The products haven't necessarily gotten wildly better, it's just that your money is vastly weaker. So who's actually pulling the strings on this daily crime against our wallets? Well, we can break it down to four main suspects: demand pull, cost push, built-in, and simply having too much money floating around the system. Let's interrogate these suspects one by one and see exactly how they operate.
Suspect number one is what we call demand pull inflation. Let's say a town eats 10 tons of corn and the local farmers grow exactly 10 tons. Perfect harmony, right? But suddenly a dark, massive tornado strikes and wipes out most of the crop. Now there's only 3 tons left. The demand hasn't changed, people still want their 10 tons, but the supply is just totally crushed. So what happens? Desperate buyers start bidding against each other, literally pulling the price of that remaining corn straight up into the stratosphere.
And that exact same tragedy triggers our second suspect: cost push inflation. Think about the local popcorn seller. Normally, they buy corn for $1, spend $1 on other costs, and make a nice $1 profit by selling the popcorn for $3. But because that tornado spiked the price of raw corn to $2, the seller's cost of production just shot through the roof. To survive and just keep that single dollar of profit, they are absolutely forced to push the final price of the popcorn up to $4.
Moving on to our third suspect, which is this moody, never-ending cycle called built-in inflation. Imagine factory workers making shoes. They earn $1,000 a month, but everyday living costs slowly creep up to $1,000. They've got absolutely nothing left, so they demand a raise to $1,200 just to keep food on the table. The boss agrees, but now the shoe company has higher production costs. So what do? You guessed it, they hike the price of the shoes to protect their profit margin. Higher shoe prices lead to a higher cost of living, which leads to demands for even higher wages. It is a relentless, exhausting treadmill. And then we have the fourth suspect: too much money. Imagine 5 people, each holding a $5 bill, standing in a bakery that has exactly 5 loaves of bread. Everyone buys 1 loaf for $5. Perfect. But then, the government suddenly injects an extra $5 into everyone's pocket. Now everyone has $10, and naturally, they want to buy more, maybe 2 loaves each. The bakery sees this absolute frenzy, but they still only have 5 physical loaves sitting on the shelf. So they just double the price to $10. Injecting that extra cash didn't magically bake more bread, it just made the exact same bread cost twice as much.
Okay, so we know who the suspects are and exactly how they operate in the shadows. But how do we track this invisible thief? We know the theft is happening every single day at the grocery store and the gas pump, but how do governments actually measure something so massive and so pervasive across an entire country's economy? Well, they use the ultimate tracking tool, the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. In plain English, it's just a way to track how the prices of everyday goods and services change over a specific period. It takes a big basket of goods in one year, compares the total price to that exact same basket the next year, and spits out a percentage. But I'll let you in on a secret. It's really just a rough average. It is definitely not a perfect reflection of your day-to-day reality. And this brilliantly illustrates why. A low overall CPI doesn't mean your life isn't getting vastly more expensive. The absolute essentials that you need to survive every single day often spike aggressively. Bread might be up 10%, eggs up 6%. But meanwhile, a totally non-essential item, like a decorative candle, maybe only goes up 1.25%. The CPI averages all of this together, so the government might announce a totally reasonable inflation rate, but you still feel incredibly broke at the store because the stuff you actually need is skyrocketing. Now, hearing all this, you might logically think, well, the ultimate goal should be zero inflation, or even better, minus inflation, so things get cheaper and my money gains value. It makes sense, right? But minus inflation, which economists call deflation, is actually highly dangerous and can bring a functioning economy to a complete grinding halt.
The extremes on both ends are honestly terrifying. If prices are constantly dropping, that's deflation. Nobody buys anything today because they know it'll be cheaper tomorrow. Businesses collapse, wages are slashed, and nobody has money to spend anyway. That nightmare scenario is what fueled the 1930s Great Depression. On the exact opposite end, you have hyperinflation, like the tragedy we've seen in Venezuela. The government printed so much money that the currency became utterly worthless, and citizens literally threw cash into the streets because it couldn't buy a single thing. So, the absolutely crucial point here is finding the balance. And that balance is a magic number, usually around 2 to 3%. Central banks aim for this Goldilocks zone. It's just enough inflation to quietly encourage you to spend or invest your money today rather than hoarding it under a mattress. That keeps businesses growing, jobs active, and the economy churning, but not so much inflation that your money becomes worthless overnight. So who actually enforces this magic number? Who are the police of our economy? Well, it's a dual effort. The central bank handles what we call monetary policy, which is really just a fancy way of saying they control interest rates and the overall money supply. Meanwhile, the government handles fiscal policy, which simply means they control adjusting taxes and government spending.
Let's look at the central bank first. They use this tool called open market operations. If the economy is freezing cold and they want to heat it up, here is their playbook. Step 1. The central bank buys up government bonds from commercial banks, injecting fresh cash straight into the system. Step 2. Those commercial banks now have fat wallets, so they aggressively compete to lend that money out to you, lowering their interest rates to lure you in. Step 3. Cheaper loans mean you and I borrow more, we spend more, and that spending pushes prices up. If inflation gets too hot, they just run that exact playbook in reverse, pulling money right out of the system.
On the government side, we have fiscal policy. Imagine the government decides to build a massive, multi-billion-dollar new bridge. Step 1, they buy mountains of cement, steel, and bricks from local businesses. Step 2, thousands of engineers and construction workers get hired and paid. Step 3, all those workers take their fat new paychecks and spend them in the local economy, pulling prices up. The government is directly pumping money into workers' hands. If they want to cool inflation down, they simply pause building projects, or they raise taxes to pull that money back out of our pockets. So now we know exactly how the machine works, but how do you master self-defense against this invisible thief? Listen closely here. Saving your money in a piggy bank or hiding it in a shoebox for the last 10 years is a critical financial mistake. Inflation can and absolutely will make your money lose value over time. Hiding $1,000 in a box 10 years ago means that same physical cash buys you significantly less today. By doing nothing, you are actively losing money.
This is the raw math of survival, and it is absolutely vital you understand it. Let's look at 3 guys who each had $1,000 10 years ago. Bob put his money in the stock market, averaging a 25% gross return per year. Jack bought gold, which is a classic inflation shield, getting a solid 6% return. But poor Tony. Tony played it safe. He put his money in a standard bank savings account, earning just a measly 1% return. Now here is where the invisible tax strikes. We have to subtract our 2% average inflation rate from those gross returns to see the real money they actually made. Look at Bob. Bob's real return is 23%. He's thriving. Jack's real return is 4%. He's surviving. But look at Tony. Tony's real return is negative 1%. Even though his bank statement literally says he earned interest, inflation ate all of that profit plus some of his core savings. His actual purchasing power quietly drained away, all because his interest rate couldn't outpace inflation.
Which brings us to the ultimate question you have to ask yourself right now. Are you investing, or is your money quietly disappearing? Inflation is a natural, unavoidable part of the economic machine. You literally cannot stop it. But by understanding the mechanics we've walked through today, and by being smart about where you park your hard-earned cash, you do not have to be its victim. Take control, do your research, and don't let your wealth vanish into thin air. Until next time, stay curious and stay focused.